It is a real pleasure to welcome Danny Lee Johnson to the show because I get to say to him on the show, I so admire your son.
Ma'am, I know exactly where you're coming from. Your ears must burn all the time because he talks about you. And this is the truth. People watch you on TV, not just us, and they can feel the love and warmness from you. I mean, it's just like a grandmother's or a mom's love that you show on TV. People can feel it, and that's awesome. Not everybody been blessed to have that.
Thank you very much. You're very kind. Courtney's a special young man. Now let's hear about your story now. What were you doing when you decided you needed to tell your story?
Okay. The reason I wrote this story was that I want to inspire and motivate people. My life story is in this book. This book also covers people of all ages and all colors. The reason that book got done was I went into the Murray State Hall of Fame this February the 16th will be a year. And I go through the natural thing. You thank everybody this and that. Well, since you're an athlete, you're on scholarship, people think you got it made. They think your life is perfect. They see you at practice laughing and talking. They see you on the buses. You're taking a bus, you're flying everywhere first class. And so my enshrinement speech, I decided to go outside the box. People knew my life was hard and was rough, but they never knew how bad. Even back in high school or being recruited by colleges, they only knew so much. But the night of the Hall of Fame, I opened the can.
You told the whole story?
I told the whole story.
So share a bit with our audience about your childhood and the abuse.
The abuse started from the time that I can remember. And I'm just be quite honest with you. My father was a drug addict. He was an alcoholic. He was abusive to me only. Now, I'm born down in Dorena, Missouri, where it's so small to this day, they don't have a population of it. So every boy,
small.
Yes, ma'am. So every boy's dream was to be like his dad. I mean, kids down in Missouri at that age was driving farm equipment, was working on cars. Well, then you got Danny Lee Johnson coming along. I don't know what any kind of tool is. I don't know how to work on vehicles. So I was kind of like a black sheep to everyone. I was outside the box. Everybody else knew how to do these things. And my mother and father fought like Muhammad Ali and Joe Frazier every night, to be honest with you. Then now here I come in all of a sudden, I bring the word sport into the house. Well, people had 11 and 12 kids. When you got big enough, you was working in the field.
Of course.
I mean, cornfields, the bean fields, picking cotton and so forth. Well, Dan Johnson come along with the word sport. And my father said, you don't need any sports. He said, you need to be home and working in the field. Well, Mom said, Danny, she said, follow your dream, follow your heart, and go to sport. Well, all that done was added to it. And make a long story short, at the age of 12, my mom and dad divorced, and we went up north. And for 3 weeks, I begged my mom to let me come back to Missouri at the time. And finally, one day, she sat me down for 3 hours, Mrs. Humphrey. She must have put her finger on my nose and talked to me what I better do and better not do. Because I had to go back with my dad. And I knew she was just afraid, because when they was married, every morning at 2 or 3, he would come knocking on the door, kicking the door in, and cussing and using words. But everybody knew where he was headed. He was headed to the room to beat me.
Right.
Mama would meet him every night. If he was drunk enough, she could hold him off. But I seen some nights he wasn't drunk enough, and my mother was laying on the floor with her eyes rolling back in her head. But then again, that next night, when he come in at 2 or 3 in the morning, she would meet him again. Most of the time, I spent all night with other people.
My goodness, what a story. And all of that is in your book. How can we acquire it? How can we get your book?
Barnes & Noble have it. And I have some as well. As a matter of fact, that book there is for you. And I know you said you was a Murray State graduate.
I am a Murray State girl, so yes.
And I got something here from Murray State. Now,
thank you.
I went to Barnes & Nobles. Besides this book, I want to do a workbook. So I want to do some research. I went to Barnes & Nobles. They had no workbook. Everybody in the store was trying to help me find a workbook because I wanted to know how to do one. They did not have one, so I done my own workbook. In the back of this book is 150 questions.
Wonderful.
And these questions here deal with abuse, alcoholic, drug addicts. And the reason that's in there is that there's a lot of people out there that feel like they don't want to be embarrassed because of how their background was, or the person that do have these is a drug addict, alcoholic, and abusive. They make you feel guilty. And my story to people is, don't let nobody do you like that. It's not, you're not guilty. You've done nothing wrong. Don't be embarrassed to ask people for help. Amen.
Amen. Get Danny Johnson's book and find out some really comfort and encouragement. Thank you so much. We'll be back. We're going to Madisonville, Kentucky, sort of. Kelly Forbes is here to talk about the 911 Heroes Run.